Welcome to the 3D Ghost universe, a place dedicated to 3D creation and 3D printing. It's now time to play a little bit with our little ghost and to have some fun by printing him in really various ways. The first one will be to try to print a very tiny and small one. Then we will try to have a big one with a special material to have fun, like a rainbow, for example. Then we will try with special materials like wood, like PLA carbon, or like flexible plastic. And of course we will have a regular profile printing in order to print a white ghost that we will post-process and paint in order to have a transparent one, a silk one. If you are a complete beginner and you need to start with the very beginning, I have a video about the complete workflow to create an object in various softwares and to print it. So I am now in Ultimaker Cura and I will try to print this ghost with a very tiny size. So let's check the size. Okay, it's almost 15 centimeters and I want to do something with maybe on the z-axis 2 centimeters. So we kept uniform scaling. We go to 20. Okay, you can see that the ghost is automatically put on the bed thanks to the fact that on preferences I enable automatically drop models to the build plate. So without this one we will undo. This is not the same thing, so if you don't want to have to change the Z position, I will recommend to you to keep in preferences automatically drop models to the build plate. So go back, we say that we want a 20 millimeters high ghost. Okay, it's okay for me. What I want is, it's a very small, very small object, so I want to have the details and I need precision, for example for the eyes and for the mouth. So what I will do is I will print with a really small nozzle, 0.2 millimeters. And then the profile change, we have super quality or ultra quality. We will do it with ultra quality. It's very small and we want to have the best possible print. Okay. By choosing the profile ultra quality, it changes automatically a lot of things. What do we have to change by ourselves? Like I told you in the special video about the settings, at the beginner, let's try to work with what is recommended. So maybe you will try to change the density. It's a small unit, small piece, so we can go higher with density. Maybe we will go with 30, for example, because we don't want this object to be too fragile. The printing temperature for this kind of object, I will use a PLA, and probably 220 will be the good printing temperature, but don't worry, we can change it after doing the G-code directly in the printer. The build plate temperature for something as small as this object, what I will do, and what I highly recommend you to do, is to print on double side tape. Of course, I have a special video about it, you can check. This is my recommendation for having zero problem of adhesion. So with double side tape, I will not have to have a hotbed, so 0 will be good for me. Not changing the speed. Enable retraction always. Cooling, of course. Do I need some support? Obviously, not very much, but probably a little bit here if we want to have a perfect print. Cura is telling me here and here, not so sure, but maybe for the arm. So we will do generate support. Like always, when I'm generating support, enable support roof, enable floor. And regarding adhesion, even if double side tape is very efficient, I will always secure myself with a brim. So it's okay. Let's go for slicing. Okay, small print, only you can see it's very light. 1 hour. Maybe we want to work a little bit on the infill because there is not a big difference for this kind of object. So maybe we can go higher in order to secure a harder object. 10 minutes more, or maybe 12 minutes more, I don't know. It's okay, it's not changing a lot of things. What if we go with a full infill? Okay, it will be very light, but I think that for this kind of so small object we can try. So let's go for a preview because I want to see what kind of support Cura is asking me to do. So let's go. Let's have a check. Okay, I think it's correct. There is no strange support. It's not asking me to do support, for example, right here. So it's okay. It's okay. So it's okay for the very small in ultra quality ghost. Just have to say the G code. XS ghost. Okay, it's good for this one. The small print look a little bit frightening, like a spider web, but it's really easy to remove without any tool, just your finger, and then with a little bit of post-processing, the result is quite good. I work with the Creality filament, and to be honest with you, I'm quite happy with the result for such a small object. For the second test, I want to try a big print, a bigger one, so I'm going with my ghost and maybe I will change the size to, still with uniform scaling, 25 centimeters. Okay, very big. You can see two things. The first is that there is no way to print under the bed, so you will have to move the ghost, because when in preferences automatically drop models to the build plate is enabled, you will have a drop if the object is up. When he is down, you will have to do it manually, so you can go to move, and on the z-axis you want it at 0. Okay, but this is still strange. You can see that the ghost is not with the regular color. You have something inside that is telling you there is a problem. And the problem is that the object will not be able to be printed with my printer because it is too big. It is almost at the same size, so the nozzle will not be able to go here. So almost at the same size that the bed, so the nozzle will not be able to go here, so we have to change the size. I can move it, it will not change anything. So what we will do is that we will change the size, and I will go with a % modification. 150 looks good, I think. Okay, it's okay. So it will be a little less bigger than what I was expecting at the beginning, but it's still good. So for printing this kind of object, I want to save some time, so I will do it with a bigger nozzle. 1mm, it's no details, it's not something that I want for a decoration print. 0.8 will be near to 1mm regarding quality, so 0.6 is a good way to increase the speed, but to still have a quality enough for a decoration object, so we'll go to 0.6. With 0.6, what kind of profile Cura is telling me to work with? We have standard, low, or draft. Of course, it's a decorative object, I don't want something with a draft quality. But maybe I will try with low quality. I think that for this kind of object, the only real details are the shape of the arm, the eyes, and the mouth. This is a quite round object, a smooth object. So standard quality is great. I think low quality will be enough. We will have a try. Low quality, okay, changing everything automatically. It's good for me. Want to talk about the infill. The object is so big that I don't need a huge infill. I want to keep it light, so I will go with 10%. I will never go lower than 10, but for this huge object I think 10 is good. Printing materials, once again, depend of the PLA. We will say 220, and we will adjust directly on the printer if needed. The build plate temperature, this time, as you can see, there is a huge surface that will touch the bed, and I create the ghost typically for having a huge surface for adhesion. So I will not need any extra help. I will not need anything else than a high temperature, and I will go with 80. For my glass bed, 80 is perfect. So it's okay for me. Enable retraction, of course. Cooling, of course. Generate support, okay, we will see. Of course, if I slice, Cura will ask me to do supports for the arm, but as you can see, the angle is not so terrible, and for a small ghost, it will be hard for the printer, and I want to have a perfect print. But for this size of object, with this kind of angle, I'm quite sure that we will have enough amount of material to print without having support. So we will have a try. And this is the same thing for the mouth and for the eye. I think that this time Cura is too protective with the support. What I will do is that I will try without any support, and we will see. We are here for trying. Let's go to prepare, no support, and finally no build plate adhesion, only a skirt, no brim, even if I'm always working with brim. But always is not really always, because when you are working with a huge object with all this kind of surface, it will be okay. I'm quite sure. So let's slice like this and we will see. Okay, 17 hours. It's huge. I hope that I will not have regrets about the support, but we will try, and we will print it in rainbow, because rainbow is a fun filament that will change the color. But in order to have a good result, you will need a big object to print, and you will need to have not only a big by the size, but you will have to use a lot of materials. And I think that for having a complete rainbow, it's almost 250 or maybe 300, so it will be good with as you can see right here, this weight. So let's go for saving, and it will be okay. To be honest with you, the result is a very positive surprise for me, because even with no supports for the arm, the result is really good. The bottom of the arm is smooth. As you can see, you have the details on the arm, on the face. It's great. And the printing is made with the rainbow filament from Sunlu, a brand that I discovered for the white silk at the beginning, and then I bought a lot of filaments from Sunlu because it's easy to print and the result is almost always satisfying. We will now prepare the ghost to be printed with special material, and what I'm calling special material for this time, it will be a filament of wood and a filament of PLA carbon. So you have to know that those kind of filament, wood or carbon for example, are not pure plastic. You will have some more materials inside that will need a bigger nozzle. So you will have to go at least with 0.5 nozzle. Okay. Now that we have the 0.5, we will decide the side of the dog. I will go with A small one, not a really tiny one, but a small one. 5 centimeters high will be good. Okay. What kind of profile Cura is proposing? For 0.5 we have super quality, dynamic, standard or low. We will say that we want something very good, so we will go with super quality. Things are changing automatically. What do I want to change? Maybe the infill, 20, it's good. We will go with 20. Temperature, once again, you will have to look at the packaging of your special material to decide what is the perfect temperature. We will go by default with 220 and we will adapt before the print directly on the printer. Regarding the temperature of the bed, it will depend on the kind of adhesion you want. For this example, I will try one print with the help of glue stick, so I will go with a 40-degree temperature in order to have the glue stick, and I will try another print with only high temperature on the bed, 80 degree, and of course I will help my adhesion with a brim like always. I will not change any other settings except the fact that I will generate support, because for this kind of object, if you want a perfect angle for this size of object, I think that we will need some support right under the arm of the ghost. And like you can see on the preview, too small support, it will do the job, and now we will be able to generate the G-code file. The black carbon print needs also a little bit of post-processing. Better settings with retraction maybe help a little bit, but to be honest, it's quite easy to work on it. As you will see, I will work with precision tool, the rotary tool, but also precision tool, because I don't want to do some scratches on the black carbon, but the result, once again, is quite good. For this print, I use a black carbon PLA from Sunlu, and once again I'm satisfied with the result. The wood realization is for me the biggest deception, because the result is not good, it's not easy to post-process the object, and quite frankly, even if the print didn't need any post-processing, the object is not good, you don't have any wood effect, it's a big deception. And my deception is even bigger because the brand of the filament is Gitek with 3E, a manufacturer proposing a lot of materials, so it's an expensive brand for wood, to be honest. It's supposed to be a good one, and this one, it's really a mess. It's impossible to work properly with that filament. Almost 1 kilo of wood, it's impossible for me to have a good print. And I don't want to be rude with Gitek, but the problem is that the other filament that I have from this brand is a transparent one, and I still have a lot of problems. I never tried the classical PLA, but for the special material, I'm not happy with Gitek. And I will now prepare the file for printing the ghost with the most classical setting. So we will go with a 0.4 nozzle. We will discard the changes because I want to redo it in front of you. So, of course, we'll change the size. 5 centimeters will be good. Okay, great. I will print it on my CR10V2. Okay, so because I changed my printer, it changed everything. So I'll go back to the 0.5 nozzle, discard the changes. What are the profile? Super, dynamic, standard, low. I want super. I will change the infill. No, 20 will be the charm. I will keep it. Printing to 20. The build plate temperature, I will go with a classic print. So 80 degree on my glass bed. I will add a brim and it will be okay. The speed, no change. I will go with generate supports, and before generating I will go with my brim. So let's slice it with a 0.4 nozzle. The result for the white printing, the classical profile, is quite okay. As you can see, we have some hairs on the print. Probably I should work a little bit with retraction, but the result is quite good and quite easy to work. The print in white with a regular profile is made with the Creality official PLA. The result is great, and I decided to work a little bit on the object I prepared for brush painting. As you can see, we have a little more fun with varnish and mica powder in order to create an effect of gold but nasty ghost. It was just a quick work for fun, but I'm quite satisfied with the result. The transparent green is also a PLA of Sunlu. I'm quite satisfied with the brand, so I have a lot of filaments from this brand, and it's, like always, good to print, easy to work, and the result is quite good. I didn't change anything about the infill, but as you can see, the light effect is quite good, and I'll probably discover a fun material for future projects. With the regular profile, I also tried other filaments from Sunlu. On the left you will see a silk white. It's a good one, it's a good result. It's even better in real than in the photography. And on the right side of the screen you have the silk gray, and it's still a good one. Of course, the pixel effect is a result of the remesh blocks modifier that I apply on my original creation in Blender. And in order to print this ghost with the same size but with a flexible plastic, with TPU flexible plastic, we will only change one thing, and this thing will be the infill. With a lower infill, the ghost will be more flexible, so we will go with 10. We will slice. Okay, and the only thing that we are changing right here is the infill, and the other thing that you will have to adapt, it's the printing temperature. Once again, you will have to take a look at the packaging of your material, of your TPU, in order to know what is the best temperature. Most of the time you will have a max and a minimum, and what I'm doing is I'm doing a -10 to the max. My TPU, my flexible plastic, white plastic, is coming from a brand that I didn't know. The name is Yoyi, I think. The pronunciation is maybe good. To be honest with you, I always have some troubles with this PLA. It's hard to work. The result is not quite satisfying. You have a lot of defaults on the object, so it's okay. It's really white. It's really flexible, but you will have some issue to have a clean object, and I'm not really satisfied with the brand, to be honest. Maybe it's just a problem with this filament. I'm not judging the entire brand, but it's not satisfying for me. I hope that this video will help you to create very simple but efficient settings in Cura in order to print various objects with very different sizes and very different materials.